Some plants seem to struggle no matter how much care they get. Their leaves fade, their growth slows, and within a single season, they quietly disappear. And right beside them, sometimes in the same soil, another plant stands steady. Year after year, it grows a little stronger. Its roots go deeper. Its branches spread wider. Decades pass, and it is still there, almost unchanged in its rhythm. This difference can feel confusing. You water, you watch, you try to do everything right. But the results are not the same. One plant lasts a few months. Another can live for 30, 50, even 100 years or more. The truth is simple and also comforting. You're not doing anything wrong. Most plants are not meant to last that long, but a few are. A small group of heirloom plants have quietly proven over generations that they can outlive the gardener who first planted them. They grow slowly, they settle in deeply, and with time, they give more instead of less. There is one important reason behind this. And once you see it, everything about long-lasting plants starts to make sense. Before explaining why this worked, it helps to understand what makes these plants different in the first place. The word heirloom may sound old-fashioned, but its meaning is quite gentle. It simply refers to plants that have been passed down, often for many years, sometimes through families, sometimes through communities. These are not plants designed for quick results. They were not chosen for speed or size in a single season. Instead, they were chosen because they lasted. Over time, these plants adapted to real conditions. They learned how to handle heat, cold, dry spells, and slow changes in soil. Their roots grew deeper, not just wider. And because of that, they became more stable. This is where many gardeners feel unsure. Faster-growing plants often look more rewarding at the beginning. They grow quickly. They produce early. But that speed can come with a cost. Shallow roots, weaker structure, and shorter life. Heirloom plants work differently. In the early stages, they may seem quiet. Growth may appear slow. Leaves may not look dramatic. But underneath the soil, something important is happening. The plant is building strength. And over the years, this strength shows itself. The plant becomes more reliable. It needs less attention. It becomes part of the space, not just a temporary visitor. This is why some plants seem to improve with age. Not because they are being pushed to grow, but because they were allowed to grow in their own time. One of the clearest examples of this can be seen in a simple fruit tree. A young fruit tree does not rush. In its first few years, it may produce very little, sometimes nothing at all. This can feel discouraging, especially if you are used to quick results. But during this time, the tree is focusing on something far more important than fruit. It is building its foundation. Its roots are reaching deeper into the soil. Its trunk is strengthening. Its branches are learning how to balance weight and wind. And once this foundation is set, something begins to change. Year by year, the tree becomes more generous. It produces more fruit. Its shade grows wider. And instead of needing more care, it often needs less. In warmer regions, this process may move a little faster. Growth may be more active, and fruit may come sooner. In cooler climates, it may take more time. Winters slow things down. But the overall lifespan does not change as much as people expect. A well-placed tree, given time, can last for decades in many different conditions. The key is not speed. It is stability. And this same pattern appears again in plants that do not even look like trees. Some plants disappear completely for part of the year. They seem to vanish. The space looks empty, and it can feel like something has gone wrong. But then, quietly, they return. Perennial plants follow this rhythm. They grow, rest, and return again. Each cycle adds a little more strength underground. If this feels slow, that's okay. This kind of plant builds its real power where you cannot see it. In the beginning, the growth above the soil may seem small. But below the surface, roots are spreading and thickening. Over time, this creates a plant that is more stable, more resistant, and more consistent. And once established, these plants often require very little effort. They come back on their own. They adjust to the seasons. They become part of the natural flow of the garden. This is where patience becomes something valuable, not something difficult. Because the plant is not falling behind. It is simply growing in a different way. Many gardeners only fully understand this after making a very common mistake. There is a natural desire to help plants grow faster. It comes from care and attention. Watering more often, adding extra fertilizer, moving plants to better spots again and again. These actions feel helpful. But for long-living plants, too much interference can actually slow them down. When a plant is overwatered, its roots may stay shallow. When it is overfed, it may grow too quickly without building strength. When it is moved too often, it may never fully settle. The real turning point comes when you begin to do less, not more. Long-living plants are not designed to be constantly adjusted. They prefer consistency, a stable place, a steady rhythm, time to adapt without interruption. Once this is understood, care becomes simpler. Instead of trying to improve the plant every day, you begin to observe. You notice patterns. You allow the plant to guide its own pace. And this is where another kind of heirloom plant quietly shows its value. Some herbs and flowering plants become more fragrant and more beautiful as they age. Their scent deepens. Their blooms become more reliable. They do not need constant trimming or feeding. They simply need space and time. In a warm climate, these plants may grow year-round. In cooler areas, they may rest during winter and return in spring. Either way, their strength builds gradually. A gentle approach works best. Light pruning when needed. Occasional watering during dry periods. And most importantly, leaving the plant undisturbed as much as possible. There is something comforting about these plants. They do not rush. They do not demand attention. But over the years, they become richer in both scent and presence. And yet, even with the best intentions, one small habit can shorten the life of almost any plant. It often comes from trying to fix something that does not need fixing. Frequent pruning, for example, can seem helpful. Removing leaves, shaping a plant, keeping it neat. But too much cutting can weaken the plant over time. It removes energy that the plant needs to store. Another common issue is placement. Moving a plant again and again in search of the perfect spot. Each move interrupts the roots. Each change forces the plant to start over. This is very common, especially for new gardeners. It comes from care, not from neglect. The simple correction is to choose a place carefully. Then allow the plant to stay there. Give it time to adjust. Watch how it responds across seasons. Small, thoughtful changes are fine. But constant changes can prevent a plant from ever reaching its full strength. And when a plant is allowed to grow steadily in one place, something special begins to happen over the years. Some plants can be divided and shared. A small section of roots can become a new plant. A cutting can grow into something just as strong as the original. These plants carry history, not just in their age, but in the way they are passed along. A plant grown in one garden can move to another. It can be shared with family. It can continue growing long after the original gardener is gone. This is where gardening becomes more than just growing plants. It becomes a way of keeping something alive across time. A simple plant, cared for gently, can become a quiet connection between generations. And it does not require perfect conditions. In warmer areas, growth may be faster and more continuous. In cooler places, there may be pauses and slower progress. But the idea remains the same. Steady growth. Minimal disturbance. Time. If you were to begin with just one plant like this, it would not need to be complicated. It could be something small, something simple, something that fits naturally into your space. And if you feel like sharing, you might think about which one you would choose to start with. Not because you have to decide right away, but just as a quiet thought. Which plant feels right for you? There is no rush in that decision. Because in the end, these plants are not about quick results. They are about time. About allowing growth to happen at its own pace. You do not need to do more. You do not need to push harder. You simply need to choose carefully, give the plant a stable place, and allow it to settle. And as the years pass, you may notice something gentle but powerful. The less you interfere, the more the plant gives back. Do less. Get more.